proudly brought to you by the National Center for Wellness.
So if somebody's out in the community, they contract the flu, they go through an immune response. Tragically, they've got a runny nose. They don't feel so well. They have a fever, and
tragically
they they have to stay home, maybe from work for a day or two, inconveniently. What is different in the body versus getting the shot in the arm, or in terms of making the IgGs and the entire immune response that allows for a natural exposure to give you immunity for life, as opposed to, like you said, a toxic situation where the body is simply responding to an emergency? Why is it different that the body maintains lifelong immunity on something that it's been exposed to correctly and not lifelong when it's been exposed to incorrectly?
Because the immunological cascade is really complicated. But I'll narrow it down to make it as simple as I can for parents that are listening.
Perfect.
There's two sides of the immune system. There's the Th1 and the Th2 side of the immune system. The Th2 makes the antibodies. The Th1 is the white blood cells, the macrophages, and the cytokines. When you actually get sick, both of them have to work together. The macrophages come and gobble up the virus and bacteria, and they send out all these messenger molecules, and they turn up the heat and cause the fever. And then eventually you get this antibody that comes together that says, okay, I recognize this. So it's a self-induced, a self-made antibody, so that when the emergency's over and the virus is gone, the next time that a virus comes into your system, say chickenpox, or chickenpox comes around, the next time that happens, the white blood cells go, hey, I think I recognize this. You guys over there, you antibodies over there, come alive and let's go gobble up this bacteria and make it go away. Mission accomplished. It's all gone away. So it's a synergy between both sides of the immune system that does not happen with vaccination. All you get is this antibody floating around. And so when something comes in, they're like, well, and it's not even the same antibody as the virus or bacteria that comes in from the environment. It's really not even the same thing. And so it kind of maybe should work, but we don't know that it does. And all we've done is we've contaminated the bloodstream. And that's why they say when you made these antibodies, you made these little antibodies, over time they wane and go away. They're not there anymore because there's no supporting structure. And that's why vaccination is a temporary immunity, so to speak, because it really doesn't induce long-term real immunity. It's a false thing that happens. And so a lot of the language is just all kind of convoluted and gets really confusing for parents and non-medical people to read through some of these things. But understanding that real infections are really important. Now, I don't want somebody to take that all out of context and say, okay, I'm going to run right out today and go play in the rain and get sick. But no, we've been given a God-given, incredible body that was built with all of the different things that we need to survive. And I saw a cartoon once that showed a mom holding a baby, and there was like an angel, or it said God on it. It said, oh, oops, I'm sorry, your baby was born. I forgot to build in the immune system. Here, get the vaccine.
It's true.
And it's very true.
It's a conflict of religious doctrine to assume that you're made in God's image, and yet you've got to artificially inject things to make you healthy. It's interesting.
Do the job that God forgot to do.
Right. In my mind, I was thinking about the difference. It would be almost like, and you said that so succinctly. I thank you for that. Between the T1 and the T2. My mind went straight to the difference of someone who is actually trained in a degree, goes through a program, learns how to do something, attains a certificate, as opposed to going online and printing the certificate out and having it. You both are going to have a certificate, but only one knows how to use it. Only one has done the work to achieve it. And as a result, what you can expect from those two people holding that certificate would be completely different in the outcome and the effectiveness of whether it's an accountant, like you mentioned before, or a doctor. if you've downloaded a certificate, it doesn't make you a doctor, even though it might say your name with the word doctor. To have gone through the training gives you the expertise to be able to solve the problem correctly and address the problem. So I think it's amazing. Like you said, the question is everything, and just because we assume having an IgG response is the effective response that something is working in the body, doesn't mean that it's going to give you, and it obviously doesn't give you, the lifelong benefit of an exposure. And that, to me, creates the conversation that needs to be had, that we should be willing to put everything on the table. Our children are sicker now than they've ever been, and their life expectancy is shorter than that of their parents, which is the first time in statistical recorded history. For their sake, we ought to be willing to put everything on the table, question everything, take it all off, and put back what truly works. And I absolutely applaud you for the work that you're doing, and the conversation you're generating, and the way that you're able to explain simply what parents need to know, and the questions they need to ask, because it's alarming how many assumptions, how many people believe they know the story, how many people believe emphatically that they know about the vaccines, and how terrified they are that their baby may die. And as tragic as that is, when some tragedy happens, it's a misunderstanding of a problem, and we've completely altered or skewed the conversation of what we should be talking about, and bringing it back, like you did, to the immunity, the fact that to be exposed to something naturally causes a completely different reaction than artificial. All of that leads right back into that epigenetic conversation, and the impact that if we're exposing our children abnormally to their environment, since inherited traits are set by your exposure throughout your life, we're setting up our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to be less able to survive in the environment. And that's a very scary notion.